It's 7 o'clock. We will start here. So we do have Craig Stanley here to address the issue of the financial plan amendment, which is a pretty substantial item. So I call to order. So it's 7 o'clock. And traditional land acknowledgement statement. We acknowledge and respect the indigenous people which includes traditional lands. We are meeting today. I have no additions to the agenda. Yes.
I've got an addition.
Oh, is that the paper that you just handed out here?
Yeah.
All right. What do you want to call this?
Dogs on leashes.
Dogs on leashes?
Or
Okay.
not.
Yeah, I have it as one of the two items I want to talk about.
Oh,
But,
okay, then,
do whatever you want on the agenda.
okay, then I've got a different item. I don't get any emails from RDCK for some reason.
Okay, so Evan can take care of that. Not sure why. So you didn't get a copy of the agenda?
No.
Oh, yeah. So
And I checked in spam and trash and it's not
Evan
there.
can check the mail. Well, I'm gonna put the item at 7.9 under new business.
I haven't had an email from RDCK for months.
Oh, well, yeah, no, it's obviously somehow you're not on that, but he's been deleted for the mailing. So dogs off leash.
Dogs off leash and more.
Uh-oh, okay. But Gary said he wanted to talk about it.
Oh, no, you're setting your agenda.
All right, so we'll have a motion to adopt the agenda as amended with the addition of the one item. Sue, seconder. Good, all in favor? Done. You all got the minutes for the June 2nd meeting. I haven't heard any problems with those, so we'll simply say they've been received. We don't have a delegate and we don't have any public here tonight. Surprisingly, actually, or maybe not, summer.
Yes.
So I am going to turn it over to Craig Stanley. This will be part of 6.1, community center renovations, because really that's what the budget amendment is all about. So if you can look in your package, you should have this financial plan amendment sheet.
Yeah, of course. We're looking at that now?
Yeah. Is it not in your copy?
It's
Oh, good. All right. So I'm going to turn this over to Craig to address here. Let me just make sure that my speaker volume is up here.
Sound check, Gerald.
Sounds good.
Thanks. Through the chair to the commission. So this report for a financial plan amendment has two parts. One is correcting the accounting of the previous financial plan amendment from, I believe it was April. And so what we did there was we had made a financial plan amendment to do the to officially budget for the emergency repairs to the fire alarm panel and all that other work. And so that was put, when we did the financial plan amendment, that went to the board with the accounting that showed that the expenses be allocated to repairs and maintenance specified. That was done intentionally and in consultation. But after that board resolution, it was brought to my attention that that should have gone to capital expenditures. And so the first part of this is to amend that. So essentially, we're not going to rescind the old board resolution. We're just going to make a new resolution. So we're going to make change 95,000 from remove that from increase to repairs and maintenance. We're going to decrease repairs and maintenance. We're going to increase capital expenditures to 95,000. So the other part of that financial plan amendment is money required that for repairs that we've been talking about, including the stucco to the gymnasium, that work was talked about, but somehow didn't find its way into the financial plan. So the 43,000 and change for that, which I've shown as a $50,000 budget with contingencies, et cetera, has to be accounted for. So I'm making the recommendation that we take a contribution, a transfer from reserve, of 50,000 for the stucco, plus the other work that we have been talking about for the projects in and around the community center, including accessible washrooms, accessible doors, some of the kitchen renovations, and other projects. We do have to have a number, a capital budget to allow for the planning for that. So a lot of that has to go to architectural fees and some project management fees. So we're making a recommendation that an additional 25,000 be transferred from reserves to cover that off, so that we can get to the point in the planning stage for those projects that we know what the scope of work is required. We know what structural, mechanical, electrical work is required for that, so we can go for quotes and seek funding. So the conversation with Columbia Basin Trust certainly has been that if we can identify the funding needs and the projects that we've already had preliminary discussions with them about, then they would be willing to entertain an application from the RDCK board to apply for some funding. So they need to know what those numbers are. And so there's an additional 25,000. I've shown that as 20,000 for architectural and professional services and 5,000 for project management. So those two numbers added up, 95,000 as a decrease from repairs and maintenance, and an increase to transfer from reserves, increased capital expenditures, 170,000. I believe that balances. And so that's what we're doing with this financial plan amendment.
Great. Just one quick question. I thought that at one meeting recently, we had decided that the accessible washroom opens up a variety of cans of worms, like that accessible word. And I thought we were going to not try to achieve an accessible washroom. We were going to try to achieve a dated washroom without the accessible word.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that and through the chair, that is part of the conversation. And I think that there's two ways to look at it. One is we can say that it's just going to be a simple bathroom renovation. We still require an architect because it's a public facility to come in and say, this could be the scope of work. If we call it a bathroom renovation for now, we can call it that. The word accessible is just in case the Columbia Basin Trust decides that they wanted to fund that to a significant amount. So that word is part of the project description for now, but we could revise that the closer we get to finalizing the scope. So I agree that word is something that we could debate and change in the future.
Thank you.
So does it look like Columbia Basin Trust might be favorable to funding a fully accessible washroom?
Well, yeah, through the chair, since the last time I was in Riondel and we had that sit down with a group of people there, that conversation I had with the Columbia Basin Trust was that, and they have contributed to various accessible projects in the last couple of years, certainly with the RDCK with some accessibility improvements to our parks. They've contributed $1 million recently. And so that is certainly a conversation we could have with them, depending on the program of funding that they have. And there could be one stream of funding for accessibility and one stream of funding for rural communities. And I think that we would apply for one or both depending on the scope and the scale of the project.
And the kitchen, that's all being funded by the community association, is it not?
Yeah, through the chair, they've said that they would, that's where it's shown as a donation. Initially, the funding was 36,500, and they said, well, we could probably contribute all of it, but right now that's what we had shown it at. But even to do the planning on that, we still need a capital budget line to expend architectural fees and project management fees. So that's why that's included in this conversation. Whether that we're reimbursed through a donation or not, we still have to have a capital budget line for accounting purposes. And even after we do get a scope of work and an estimate or a cost estimate from the architect or the project manager, we will then have to have a capital budget, including the grant funding and the expenditure shown. So we'll probably have to come back for another financial plan amendment. But the actual answer to your question is yes, we recognize that it's potentially 100% funded, but for us to expend the money, we have to show that in the budget.
And again, the architect has to be involved.
Yeah, through the chair, the conversation I had with the project manager, we were on site a couple of weeks ago. Depending on what is that may or may not be required, we just can't answer that right now, and so that we are going to retain an architect to come in and look at that program of projects and tell us where and when, due to code and other requirements, their work is necessary.
You know, we don't want to trigger any major code work, I don't think, in the building. Is that something we'll be cautious about doing?
Yeah, through the chair, we're mindful of that escalation to major code compliance work, certainly fire suppression, etc. But that's where we will, if there's complications with any of these going forward that could lead to those escalations for code compliance, we'll come back to the commission and advise on what's feasible. And certainly being mindful of that, we would try to keep the scale of these commensurate with, certainly also the life cycle of the facility and the intended outcome as well.
And are we using Studio 9 architects for this?
Through the chair, I don't believe so. I know that Studio 9 had done the initial report a couple of years ago. That information is still in hand and available to anyone else that we would hire in the future. I am not 100% sure who we've reached out to for professional services in this case.
Well, why wouldn't we go with Studio 9, given the fact that they've had a long-standing relationship with this building? Wouldn't it make sense to just approach them?
Yeah, through the chair, that is an option the project managers could explore. It could come down to accessibility, availability, commitment to travel to Riondel, that kind of a thing. I haven't advised against or for Studio 9. I know that given that it's been a couple of years, there is no real continuity. We see the advantage of sole sourcing it depending on the scale because they have history here. I could ask the project manager to let me know who they've reached out to. It definitely could come down to who could come and do this work on short notice and still deliver the work that we need done.
The other person I would draw to your attention would be Christine Ross, because she's based out of Boswell, so she probably has the best accessibility for this community of any local architect. She should be considered. I have no idea if she would be able to fit us into her schedule at all. But she's on this side of the lake and she's within 30 minutes of Ryan.
Yeah, through the chair, if you wanted to send me that contact information, I can pass that on to the project manager later on tonight or tomorrow.
Okay, I'll do that. And do we have a final number for the fire alarm system upgrade?
Yeah, through the chair, it's interesting. I've processed a couple of invoices. I'm going to say it is very close to the 95,000 that we had estimated in the last financial plan amendment, given that we were still in the process of assessing that work. So it's getting close to that number. I can once there's a couple of more invoices I think outstanding from the contractor. I'll get an accounting for you, in the next couple of days.
Now we're still not hooked up remotely to anywhere. Is that part of the package? Yeah,
through the chair, that's I think that if that is part of the fire inspection report that we needed to have a call out, I'll circle back to I'll circle back to the contractor to ensure that that capability has been installed and is online. I wasn't fully aware of that particular aspect of the project, but I'll reach out to the staff and to the inspector to determine if that's required.
Yeah, because the conduit is in place, but there's no wires.
Right.
Yeah.
It would be simple. It'd simply call out to the fire department, I believe, correct?
Well, I think it has to go to a provincial
Oh,
central
so
number.
it would go to a dispatch in Kelowna or something.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
go to the fire department here, I think. I think that's what it would. All right, thanks, Craig. Is there anything specific that you want from us at this point on this?
No, through the chair, it's just the recommendation to make the resolution, to the board. That's the recommendation, and certainly moving that forward would make this happen.
Do you want us to make that recommendation, or is it?
Yeah, no, through the chair, that's your role, yeah, to pass that on to the board. So if the Riondel Commission made the motion, read the recommendation, and then we could move that forward through process.
All right, well, I open it up to the other commissioners here for further questions. Does anyone have anything further to ask of Craig about the financial plan amendment?
Yeah.
No, it sounds like it will move us forward. Is that what it looks like?
Yeah, we're at the point where it's gotta happen. So.
Yeah. All right, so, let's have a motion then to recommend the financial plan amendment to the board regarding the good board. Somebody wish to make that motion,
Sure, I'll move that.
right? And seconder, Carmen, and any further discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Okay. Any opposed? Okay, carried. All right, Craig, are you going to stay with us or?
I think, yeah, through the chair, there's a couple of items there on the agenda that if required, I can assist in answering any questions. I'm here till about 8 o'clock or so I can stick around, and if you have any questions for me, I'll be happy to answer them.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's go down the agenda here. 6.2, thanks to a bunch of volunteers, and in particular, a group of young people and chaperones from Dutch Harbor. We got playground all weeded and cleaned up and hoed and raked, and the harbor here is all cleaned up and hoed and raked and weeded. Looks 100% better. We still need, one thing we need, and I think we'll be getting it, is a tiller for the playground. Maybe Craig, you could address this one. Ultimately, I think the sand in the playground compacts to a hardness of cement if it's not tilled regularly. When they're putting in the new swing set, is it possible to get some new cover for the playground, like something safer? I think they're using either tubes or rubber now.
Yeah, through the chair, I was talking to the facility manager, Stu Durning, and we are looking at improving that fall surface. I think that if, with the new playground, there's also going to be a bit of an accessible trail, a hard surface that goes from the parking lot to those accessible swings. And so that'll be part of it, but also the fall surface, the fall protection surface around that I think it's 6 feet from, depending on the height of there is a material that we could install over top of the sand, but that's a little bit cost prohibitive. I think the solution is to provide, perform better maintenance in a more regular. But the other conversation was that they would look at enhancing that material with something more appropriate than clay or silt, just in the meantime to top it off. So there was a conversation with the facility manager about improving that fall surface. And yes, when we do the installation of that playground structure, it's an opportune time to improve the safety and the usability there.
Okay, so we'll see if we can just till it to keep it. So.
Yeah,
Alright.
through the chair, I can also talk to staff about making sure that they're more routinely addressing that as well.
Yeah, that is a safety issue.
All right, Gerald, one question. Is the funding for the new fall surface included as part of that accessibility grant or whatever made that swing happen?
Yeah, through the chair, that wasn't part of the scope. The project for 50,000 that the Columbia Basin Trust awarded, we've spent 25 on the swing, and there is 12 or 14 for the installation. There is some money left over. We'll ask the Columbia Basin Trust, certainly if there's money that we haven't spent, if there's an ability for us to improve but there is a little bit of money left over. Currently, it's not allocated to anything in that project yet, but we can ask.
Well, CBT are pretty good about being flexible if there's a genuine need, as I've found. Good. 6.3 water treatment plant update. There was some concern that I heard about getting parts for the water treatment plant. The manufacturers were making parts, so I sent an email to Alexander Dubikowski, and I saw her answer just today, and she says they are able to get parts, so I guess we're okay. That was a concern. They weren't manufacturing parts for the plant. We could have challenges. Seems that, yeah, for the time being, it seems all right. And I haven't heard back 6.4 on drainage again. I had word that they were going to be doing some work on the culverts, lowering them so that they drain better. But I haven't had any communication about exactly what's happening. I think Chris from the RDCK is going to be maybe getting back to me and letting us know. So I'll pass that along as soon as I hear anything. The emergency generator update. This is something we still need to work on. We met with the steward here. We sort of looked at what we've got. Don't think it's a major challenge, but we're spending money for other things at the moment, so I'm not sure where this would fit in. The one estimate that I did have on this was $50,000 for a generator that would basically cover the auditorium, the kitchen, the washrooms, and the hallway area there, which is all we really need for an emergency service. It's quite doable, but it is, it's an investment. Craig, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, through the chair, it is about prioritization of the funding and certainly the other is, to your point, you could scale it to, I believe in Creston, the backup generator we have for this complex is for emergency lighting, and I don't even know if it runs certain building systems. I think it may just keep us hot and warm enough, but we could scale that, look at the feasibility of that generator, something that was more essential needs versus creature comforts, and that could probably make it more affordable. But right now we are looking at more higher priorities for the available funding.
We kind of wanted it to be able to provide a warming room if there's an power outage during the winter. So it's not a matter of just comfort, it's for the safety of people here.
Yeah, and the setup that we sort of looked at here would do that. It would also power furnaces, the air furnaces. So, it's something that we do lack here. There is no emergency services.
Yeah, we used to be able to do that when the ambulance was in the basement. They did that, and there was one time I came to visit. I was up for more than 2 days, and it's winter, and people were getting cold, so the ambulance people were going around and collecting people. to keep so they can stay warm downstairs. And we don't have that.
Yeah, no, it should still be on our sort of radar, I think. Right?
3 comments, if I may.
Okay, I'm coming.
Yeah, it'll only be 3. It might be a B, and C, but. So first, this is just general consideration, like with the new reality that we live in, it's not just a warming center anymore, like a cooling center really becomes like an actual thing now. Second comment, the gal from Health and Social Services, whose name I can't remember, had indicated that they have some project dollars for reception centers and things like that. That may be a dollar option. Craig, I think the EH&S falls under the regional district here. I'm not 100% familiar with that model, but anyways, that person who's on this side of the lake indicated when she was here, just as an aside, that they might have some funding for something along those lines. And then third comment, and then I'll stop, is just to keep in mind that Caslo Infonet is also has a very vested interest in a generator for this building because their main fiber cabinet is outside here. And they are also willing to contribute to this project. So again, no hard dollars or anything like that, but they're definitely a stakeholder and they've indicated some interest in having a generator here so that communications infrastructure stays up. They found out when the last power outage went out that their batteries last for about 30 hours, which wasn't quite as long as the outage lasted. So of course, internet went down for everybody.
Craig, can you contact emergency services to see if they have budget money that we might be able to access?
Yeah, I can reach out to Dance again and see what he's got in the program and let him know that there's request for a need for this type of a setup. Certainly for a warming center when the power goes out. I can make that request to Dan.
Great, yeah, and because we might be able to call together some funding here.
Yeah, I mean, it may have to be delayed for a bit, but if we know where the sources are, then we can approach it as a little bit more than just let's take some more money out of the kitty kind of thing. And I apologize for not being able to remember the name of the gal that was here.
I think it was Lisa Wilkins.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah. So she's I think she's
Glad you could.
our emergency. All right, thanks. All right, going on.
Just a sec, sorry to interrupt. Did we just skim past the drainage update? Did you say something?
I said that I hadn't gotten a response.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. I missed that.
All right, under new business. I think we've already covered 7.1. We're getting a new swing set for the playground. That'll be installed. It's in Preston at the moment. And we talked about making the surface a little safer. So that's covered. 7.2. I'd like to spend a little bit of money, probably a couple $100 to get a local person to do some landscaping work in the front of the building here. Just pruning and trimming and stuff like that. That wasn't something the volunteers could really do easily. And there are a couple of people around that can do that. So I'll follow up on that one. 7.3.
Sorry, any questions on
Yeah.
two? Sorry. This is again my thing. Is the landscape, is that beyond mowing the grass? And I'm not sure where staff stops and contractors.
The landscaping was done by the Riondel Garden Club
Okay.
years ago, a decade, probably, maybe 15 years ago.
Okay.
Right. And it was fine as long as it wasn't Riondel Garden Club because they looked after it. A couple of years ago, who was it? Blocking the name. A couple of people from that club came back here and did a whole bunch of pruning. Actually, it took like 3 truckloads of stuff. But now it needs something again. So and it doesn't really fall under the purview really necessarily. Maintenance people, I mean, it could, but they have so much else to do.
Sure, no, fair.
So a simple job like this, for someone that really knows what they're doing, you know, I think
Right.
it's worthwhile spending a little bit of money.
Okay. And then my second thing, which is kind of a landscapey thing, is what's the deal with the tree out by the compost there?
Oh,
Why is that still down?
James Lynn, his truck broke down.
Okay.
It's running again. Is it back again? It's running again. Okay, so yeah, that's.
Okay, so it is being attended.
Yeah, like he just started cleaning up
Okay.
and his truck went down and I think he
Okay.
just got it.
Good.
So hopefully that will all be on, including the stuff we got here. All right, new picnic tables, benches. I believe the shed is going to.
The shed is willing to,
Okay.
will give me the go ahead.
Okay, so I would like us to request the shed, to build, 3 tables and 2 benches.
5 tables.
I think, to keep the cost down, I think we can go with 3.
The question is, who pays for it?
We pay,
So you're writing the check?
well, Craig can answer that question here.
We need to buy the material. We need to know that the material is gonna get paid for. We're willing to do the work.
Okay, so Craig, the shed is willing to, make, 3 or 5 benches here for us. 450.
2 benches.
$450 a piece for the tables. They're beautiful. They made, how many for the campground?
8 this year.
They made 8 this year for the campground. So it's probably our best way of sourcing, some new tables for the park area and next to the community center here. So, yeah, we would like to go that, but as Nils was saying, they'd like to be sure that they'll get paid, reimbursed for the cost.
Yeah, through the chair, I think what we should do after this and maybe tomorrow, I'm just sending an email to Stu Durning with a couple of these things for him to follow up on. If there's budget and there's a need, then I think that does make sense to go to the shed to build those. There's consistency and we'll just confirm we have a budget for those, and I don't doubt there is a budget for equipment, but I just want to confirm what that is so that we can properly administer it. And then yeah, I'll get Stu Durning to follow up in the morning, Gerald, on that piece. But it does seem reasonable that the shed could build those.
Yes,
So depending where they go, the cost could be split between 2 budgets. Because if they're in
Right.
the park, that's regional park
Correct.
service versus this one here. The regional park service has a much larger budget because it includes your property pre-regional. So that, you'd want to break down what you're gonna put where, so it's funded by the right source. Tables have legs almost always. So the tables I put in historically, aside from them being concrete, were on a pad and chained down. So we thought about anchorage because tables having legs like to walk away. They go somewhere else, they go to somebody else's house or yard and they get burned up to the ground.
So maybe we should hire an architect and then.
No, let's be realistic. Let's be realistic here. It's a simple question. If you're looking at placing them in the open park and there's no supervision like there is at a campground, have you thought about chaining or anchoring them or where you might want to put them? It's something to seriously think about. Oh, architect, I'm an engineer, no engineer. Don't be smart. Just think about it because tables routinely get moved and burned. And at $500 each, that's not what we want to see happen. So be serious and adult-like about this and include how you're going to secure them. Thank you.
oh, we haven't had difficulties with the tables here.
But please put some thought into it. Thank you.
But there is a need, Craig, because we've had to dismantle, I think, 3 of them because they were jammed.
Yeah, through the chair, and I appreciate Director Jackman's comments about the potential for vandalism and theft and loss. We experienced that in our parks, but the other, certainly that park budget does have some room in it for those if they're located appropriately across the right line. So yeah, I'll ask Stu to reach out on that piece, Gerald, for sure, and we can make something happen there.
Okay, great. All right, new recycling equipment hours. So the responses I got back when I sent out that email about, whether we should, look at downsizing to 1 day if there's a cutback. Most people seem to think that that makes sense and that you would have the recycling and the tippet bins open on the store.
Happening, I think.
Is it already happening?
It was this morning, yeah.
It's just Mondays now.
Oh, they make it.
Thursday was nothing, yeah.
Oh, okay, because I don't think they've sent out a notice.
They should actually put a notice on the bins, tell the
Okay.
residents, yeah.
All right, and
Uli's staff was looking for confirmation that
Okay.
that's what you believe would be the best outcome. I did talk to Randall when I was at the transfer station today at Crawford Bay. I had some stuff to drop off at recently garbage. And he did indicate that Mondays are considerably busier than the Thursdays were. It seemed to be the logical day. I think it would be fair to give his direction to waste management staff that confirming that Mondays is the logical day.
okay, well, let's just make that, Mike,
Can I make a comment, please?
sure.
If we're only going down to 1 day a week, would it be worthwhile considering not being Mondays? Because holidays generally fall on Mondays or Fridays, and we're only 1 day a week. We could have a period where, let's say now it's 2.5 weeks between.
That's true.
The bin days.
So Thursdays,
Thursdays or a day that's
take those 4 weeks of advertising and get us old people turned around.
Unless we moved it to
If
Tuesday.
Thursday is already a day, maybe, I'm just.
That was a good idea.
Maybe Monday, because
That's a,
that's a lot of fall on a Monday.
That makes sense, like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any complications with tippet and ticket,
I don't know how that kind of stuff works, but
but, we can make that recommendation. That's what, they're looking from us. So, does someone want to make a recommendation that, we have the tippet bin and the recycling on the same day, that day be Thursday?
Can, just before you
Make
do,
that motion, I'll second it.
well, then on discussion, okay, so you have certain staff, and so if you were to go on Thursday, there may be overlap with the staff, the other sites on some of those days. Like
Yeah,
Monday was
that's
a
why I
clear
looked
day
to-
that you could shift your hours without interfering with the staff needing to be at some other site.
Yeah.
So I recognize the Monday thing, that the medical bus in the Upper Columbia Valley comes to mind, that they won't be off of Fridays because of the number of times they missed it. But I think, Monday would be the more clear day that you could maybe try and stretch the hours on the Monday or not interfere with others. Make whatever recommendation you want. But how many hours did you have on the Thursday? Was it just 2 hours?
it's the same number of hours for each day.
8:30 to 10:30?
7:30, I thought.
No,
No, it's
8:30.
2 hours.
30,
So 3
2:11.
3 hours.
Oh, no, it's for 2 hours.
8:30 to 10:30 is 2 hours. So there may be no conflicts in the hours, but that may be already partially baked into the schedule that they.
For sure, yeah.
Anyway, make whatever request you want. The other thing, Bill, was the volume you have now is much heavier on Monday than Thursday.
Yeah.
That's when people haven't come.
It ends at 10:30. A lot of people still think it ends at 11.
It used to.
It used to.
It's a new signage.
Yeah, I think we need these,
So we've gone down 1 day and an extra hour?
Yeah.
That's just not okay.
No, they're not.
it's up until 11.
Should be open till 11. It was before.
Yeah, but now Gary's saying 10:30.
Well, I'm not-
No, I didn't say that. I asked what the hours are because
Yeah,
they
it's
want
10
to
o'clock.
negotiate for an added half an hour on the 1 day. That's what I'm saying. And so it'd be nice to know what schedule the people who will be doing the work who live close to here are on right now, where else they have to be at some point in each of those days.
So our recommendation is for a 1 day service. Ideally, maybe on Thursday because,
On Thursday, because that's already there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because we don't get the days back when it's closed for holiday reasons. We don't get
That's
those
right.
days back, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll do that. We'll see if there are insuperable problems with that scenario.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Good idea.
Thank you. All right, I guess we should have a vote on that motion. So we have a motion to go with 1 day service, preferably on Thursday. All in favor? Carried. All right, seating in the playing field, I don't know if it's been done yet. Keith has some grass seed. He was going to seed the area, but just, where the whole field of the diamond is sort of. It's seeded. Oh, is it seeded? Okay, excellent. So that's taken care of. Watering of trees and, missing gators,
What's that?
years ago.
In Florida.
Yeah, right, yeah. That was probably interesting, yeah. We strap water tanks to them and let them patrol the trees.
You gotta get some gators in Florida.
No, a few years ago, maybe, I don't know now, maybe 8 years, a while ago, we bought these gators that you fill with water and you put them around the base of the tree
That?
and it gradually soaks the tree, you know. So we had about half a dozen, but no one seems to be able to find them, fortunately. It was an easy way of, you know, sort of protecting the trees. But Keith has looked everywhere. See no sign of them. So I think they're going to run a connection, hose connection off the corner of the auditorium, so they can just run up water more easily around the playground area. But it's something we, you know, will have to be aware of here if we get a real hot spit for a while, because we lost 2 trees last year.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
My niece in Coquitlam tells me that they have a lot of problems. People stealing the gators or those bags off of the trees in parks and,
You know, and that might have happened, you know, that might have been left over.
yeah.
Somebody might have decided. I don't know. I don't have much hope they'll turn out. And I don't, you know, I'm not keen on buying new ones. I'm trying to make sure that we take care of our trees here. Reduction of hours at the Riondel post office. This is just an information item. Gary, maybe you can address this one.
Yeah, it can be more than an information item. Local governments are responsible for identifying houses and fire numbers because of the emergency response requirement. Local government has to answer in the first 72 hours if there's emergency response. Have to be prepared to go, maybe along with RCMP and wherever else, but usually it's fire, ambulance, and RCMP go door to door. So we're tied to the post office system in an obscure way. Partially because of that, the Canada Post is required to advise local government when they want to make changes. So I've seen several changes in post office operations over the years. This is a kinder, gentler one, and I've seen other ones you may or may not realize, but Riondel wouldn't tolerate the conditions for a contract post office being operated, and they shut down. Tirador wanted to continue operating. There were some complications with changeover after the previous postmaster passed. Daughter was qualified, took that over. There were several issues moving from the store to the next proposed site. Canada Post at the end seemed to be bent on shutting it down. It was shut down. Boswell Post Office had a postmaster getting a particular rate and had an assistant back in the days when the main postmaster was away. When they were transitioning and the postmaster Charlene retired normally, they didn't want to give the same rate to the new person. They were squeezing the operation. It's a postmaster, but on a leased contracted area in the Destiny-based store. The squeeze of the money was so severe that the new person wouldn't take the job. Canada Post said, we can't find anybody to take it. It shut it down. You see a pattern here. Lakeview, the ownership's just changing. Now, contract, just got to cross your fingers. Because every time Canada Post has seen something, the squeeze and the pressure has resulted in the shutting down. 3 so far in Area A, just in Area A, they're everywhere. They're shutting down rural post offices. You may not care because you go down the block, get a big box, but more and more people, businesses and individuals ship and receive from Amazon and these other parcel delivery entities, and they are huge boxes, oversized. They might ship something this size in a box that would fit that projector, just oversized boxes. They can't go into the Canada Post cubicles. You need a post office. Preston has 3 receiving areas for parcels now, at least 3, because rural post offices are shutting down, and so they have to direct everything to Creston. What does that matter for here? Well, Crawford Bay, tiny little place. If you go in there anywhere near Christmas, it's insane. You can't move in the back of it. I view it as unsafe. You can't post about this. Give that postmaster more money so she can have a bigger facility. No, they say no, that's her. Here, they want to reduce a little bit. It may work out for the current postmaster, but the current postmaster might retire. And every time I've seen a change in the postmaster for someone else to come in, maybe in a different position in their life, maybe younger, maybe supporting kids, maybe got a bigger mortgage, more expenses, not as much equity behind them, with decades of work, can't afford to take a job. And that's where we've seen these close. They're still closing, or they're just massively overworked. So I haven't answered Canada Post yet. They say, hey, we're going to do this. What do you think? Well, I know what I think. I think it's a steady, aggressive squeeze to close all the rural post offices, which will have everybody driving to Creston or Starlight or Nelson. Starlight, I don't know how long that lasts. Everybody should express their concerns. And welcome anybody you talk to send me an email to say, you can't keep putting our rural post offices in jeopardy. It may work for now, for a year or two. We don't know how long Alan will want to keep the job. Then what happens? Typically, we lose another.
Already posted the job.
Well, so it is. So we don't know how this will turn out. When you squeeze, every time you squeeze it.
The Canada Post promised when the last negotiation with the union that they would terminate all door-to-door service, and they may be cutting back on this for the same reason.
The thing
In order to
is,
save money.
they're doing this in cities now, finally, and they should have done it a decade earlier. We had Denny Coudert in the national news smashing green concrete the next morning with a 20-pound hammer, looking like a tough guy. And I know I'm on air, but that's fine. It was a stunt because since he'd been left the federal government, where they're interactive with the Canada Post, became a mayor, he wanted to look like, well, you can't do this to us. You're going to walk to every gate, every door, and deliver mail house to house. That was foolish for Canada Post to delay those changes. But we are different. Boxes they provided for us don't allow for the parcels that we're receiving. So if you go closer to Creston, you'll find ding, 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 and all closed. We're going to drive a long ways. Example, my daughter gets medical supplies, pods and stuff like that for diabetes for my 10-year-old grandson through those delivery systems. It's just not the same when they fail, and they can fail randomly. You've got to drive to Creston and back to get your replacements. So it has critical impacts in remote communities. The pattern's steady. Reduce, squeeze, and they shut down. So I would be happy if people want to think about this a little bit. What if you couldn't get a parcel here bigger than this? Something slightly larger for local grid, and everything else you had to drive somewhere else.
It's almost getting that way anyway. But it's really random what they will deliver to the post office and what ends up in Creston.
Well,
Sometimes it can be something tiny. It just doesn't seem to make any sense.
the Canada Post won't contract with FedEx anymore. So
Yes.
I don't know how much of that 10%, 20% of the market's going.
I'm having a computer shipped to me. They will not ship it. This is from somewhere in the States. They will not ship it Canada Post. It has to go UPS or later because Canada Post charges for larger parcels so much. They're not using Canada Post at all. So they're using, Amazon is using BNI.
And they're terrible.
And that always goes to Creston. It does not come here. So that's already in the works. In spite of me phoning and crying and yelling stuff that didn't work.
What's the proposed in an hour here?
An hour in the middle of the day.
Yeah, it's a longer closure of a day or something, but the pattern I've seen, it just continues from there to more of
Yeah.
a squeeze.
Used to be an hour, half an hour they were closed, and now it's an hour and a half. In the middle of the
Janice,
day.
Like the lunch break kind of thing, is that
Hmm?
sort of lunch break kind of idea, is that what the
Well, that's,
And I
that,
heard today that our
They had 2 hours.
guys retired.
Retired. Yeah, so I guess, I mean, the only thing we can do is to talk to people and what, recommend that they write to you, Gary, or write to
Yeah, I'd
Canada
be happy to forward concerns. You can write to Canada Post. Did I forward you? I should have searched you first. Did I forward you the letter I got from Canada Post?
No,
it was posted on the bulletin board.
Okay, so this one, dear Mr. Jackman, writing to inform you,
Yeah.
Canada Post will be adjusting hours for operation.
my,
The hours would be closed from 1300 to 1430, an hour and a half closed.
so this is something that also the community association probably could have.
They might be a good idea, good point to rally, because the trend ends up with post offices closing because they're not viable to take on that responsibility. And then the parcels become more and more popular.
Well, one problem I can see is that, I mean, if we're the only one left and we're at the end of the road,
Well,
they're not getting along the way, there's no payload to do it.
oh, delivery.
Yeah. They changed delivery service.
Okay, well, thanks for, all making us aware.
Forward this just with the letter. Well, maybe it is.
I can check my email.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. No, it's down the string. It's deep.
All right, and 7.8, car show on the ball field. So I talked to Stuart about this one. I think the Crescent Car Club, if they were willing to do the car show, I think they were here for Riondel days. Put it on the field makes total sense because the grass is in terrible shape. It's not going to hurt anything. And it's central in the town. It's safe, accessible, visible. And the Crested Car people are professionals. They know exactly what all the safety regs are.
and anybody that's taken their car to a car show knows what to do.
Yeah. So, is there any way, Craig, that we can get confirmation that, we could give them a heads up on this and then okay?
Yeah, through the chair, it's pretty standard. It's just a facility rental, and I think that there's no real risk of environmental contamination, which would be otherwise they'd have to remediate that. Nobody's digging into the soil and nobody's spilling anything. I've seen this in other municipalities where car shows are on the ball fields, and so it's a totally typical use for not an atypical use for a ball field, but it's feasible. And if we can administer it through a simple facility rental, it seems straightforward.
Craig, sorry, just a comment, being close to the chair of the community association. The community association did reach out to the regional district and asked, and they said, no, can't use the ball field.
So through the chair, I think the communication I saw between two managers was very positive. I'm not sure what the follow-up was. I'm not sure who the community association contacted. But since then, I've definitely had a conversation about this, and it's an approved use of the ball field. So it's Gerald, we can change that, make sure people understand that is something we've approved. I'll touch base with Stu and let him know to confirm the process with you when he reaches out to you tomorrow.
That would be awesome, and time is kind of the essence because Preston is wanting to know if this is going to go or not.
Yeah.
Sort of end of the
Yeah,
week.
well, Gerald will find out for sure. I think the one thing we could do there, Mike, is and Gerald, is let them know to contact Stu and Creston. We could administer that booking through the front desk here as well. Just
It
to
would
make it
go-
easier for you guys.
Sure. I think it would go through the community association, Craig, just for simplicity's sake. The Creston group reached out to the community association to inquire if this would be something that would be Riondel would be interested in. So, and just because there's already a relationship with the community association and RDCK as far as facility use agreements and that kind of stuff, it might just expedite to keep it through the community association. I don't know if that makes sense.
Well,
but-
yeah, I think I mean, if they were gonna rent the field from us, then they could rent the field for the purposes of having a car show. There's no contractual agreement with the Creston Cruisers. So then essentially that could be who does the booking. So yeah, we could reach out to them for simplicity.
Okay, so Heather can contact.
Maybe, Craig, I'll ask the community association to just follow up, at least initially, directly with you.
Yeah, sure.
And
And
then.
if it's Heather, I can just email her right now.
Yeah, it's Heather for sure. Yeah,
Okay.
Okay,
super. Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah.
because we don't have the ball games here for Riondel Day, so
No.
this would be a great substitute.
Some of the car guys might be reluctant to take their cars out there because they'll get flat tires from the pokey grass.
Oh.
All right.
Gravel, it's just like.
Thanks, Craig.
And the last item under new business, dogs off leash.
Okay, so this was on Facebook today, and I handed out some of them. And what happened was this woman, this son, was bitten by an unleashed black Australian Shepherd named Joey. When she tried to get the owner's information, the man on the bicycle happened to run her down. And when people told her, "You've got to call the police," so she did. And the police said, "It's not our business, it's the RDCK. And the bylaws with the RDCK, we can do nothing to help you."
So they're right.
Really? Dog bite?
Got to be driven over by a motorbike.
Yeah.
There's also
They
writing.
didn't even touch the motorbike, being threatened by the motorbike.
Do we know this person? Is this a person from Riondel?
No, I know.
It's seasonal.
Mimisa?
Seasonal.
No, I'm just asking this man on the bicycle.
Oh.
He's seasonal.
Season.
He is seasonal.
Okay.
His wife is here full time. And he's here in the summers.
Yeah, well, let's focus in on the jurisdictional issue here.
Yeah. There's
Gary,
two
we
issues.
should answer,
Yeah.
address this.
Okay, so I don't know who says what the RCMP said. Did you talk to them directly?
I did not, she phoned
Okay,
them,
so,
this, Namika
Yeah.
Coleman, and that's what they told
yeah,
her.
so,
I have called them once 3 years ago because a friend of mine was being threatened by her son. And they said, "We don't have the manpower to come and help."
They do that.
They're totally non-responsive when it comes to running to
Done
Riondel.
it to me too.
well, that is an exaggeration, but the fundamental comment you've made is correct. Because I know they do respond, and that's a fact. So again, how you express something, you need to maybe use a little caution if it's not firsthand knowledge. Now, what I understood on July 2nd, because since the dog bylaws progressed to a certain state, I'm going to describe where it's at right now, is there was a serious bite, dog attack in Area B, electoral Area B. And there were some comments about whether or not the RCMP's response would change. So RCMP are responsible for public safety, period, first and foremost, period. If a local government has a bylaw that does not relieve the RCMP of their responsibilities for public safety, how could it? Now, they are hoping, relying on this particular bylaw to make their process much more smooth, because right now they have a serious difficulty of how they handle a dog if it's aggressive. And go through as much detail or not if you want on this. But the first thing is I always get concerned if partially misinformation comes up. A local government bylaw does not change the law and the responsibilities of the RCMP. If a member or civilian with the RCMP make a comment, if you didn't hear it directly, please don't start telling everybody this isn't so. Please. I know they don't respond to many incidents. Many incidents they respond to days later. They don't get here because, yes, their coverage area is huge. Population they cover for has expanded decade over decade, but the allowed number of RCMP members they have has not changed, hasn't increased. As population increases, generally incidents increase. Crime stats have gone down in all of areas A, B, C, and Creston over the last half dozen years due to work that they're doing on particular targeted things. gangs and drugs and stuff. They've always done. They do it here. They do it in West Crest and wherever. They target this stuff continually. But responding to some issues has always taken a back, like a not front of mind for them because of man challenges. There's a whole other story there. The negotiation, the provincial RCMP contract 10 years ago, I thought went badly. I thought the BC government folded on a few key issues, partially because of what Alberta did, I would say, in terms of the contracting staffing levels. It suited Alberta because they have a robust sheriff system. They don't tie RCMP officers up as much as BC does. If BC didn't step up with the sheriff system, you can see the impacts of the differences between the provinces. You can see what happened in Surrey with the Surrey police. It's a deep, deep issue, staffing and bringing in members. This issue, this isolated issue, what we've done would not help somebody who thinks they believe dogs have to be on a leash unless there's an order to do so.
Yeah, this is a dog that has.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to describe.
That dog was always off the leash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to describe the local government powers. So there's something called the Local Government Act and something called the Community Charter. And we have to work within those laws or powers, and we have to use a little common sense as we're doing it as well. So you'll see areas where regional district, rural areas have put in animal control bylaws where they can go around and require people to leash their dog, and if dog's astray, they can apprehend it and stuff like that.
You know, we talked about somebody coming to monitor,
Highly expensive,
which is not.
very unsuccessful. In rural areas, not a practical way maybe to use your tax dollars. The crux of it is the dogs that are, especially the dogs that are repeatedly aggressive, have bit or threatened to bite and caused harm. You don't have to be bit to be seriously harmed. And that's the only thing this bylaw, which has gone through one of a few critical steps, was to address. So if you read the Local Government Act, it refers to the Community Charter, few pieces of provincial legislation controlling this, and it tells you what can be done. So the dangerous dog provisions in these acts is all that this bylaw is acting in. And I put this in my Main Street article a couple of times. It's just in my more recent one again, that it identifies dangerous dog, specifically describes that threshold. RCMP, with the assistance of a bylaw officer or contractor authorized as an animal control officer under a local bylaw, has an easier time of going to a site and either giving instruction to the landowner that they think is sufficient, or if they don't think they're getting a sufficient response from the landowner, they say, we're going to apprehend the dog.
They're not, they're refusing to come because I'm taking it to mean that the bylaw does not give them the power to come.
The bylaw, no.
No.
If there's a threat to people, public safety, they absolutely can respond to a public safety incident. Nothing to do with the bylaw. What the bylaw allows them is to take direct action if they're accompanied by the person who has to have equipment and a kennel and acknowledged training, and that's the way this world works. Some things need a ticket, certificate, or training and formal stuff. They can then apprehend that animal, take it, and the animal will go through a review, and three things happen. Either it's returned to the owner with condition, which might be lockup, leash, and or muzzle, or the condition might be that the animal has to be relocated to another location. It's not going to be a suitable animal for the environment it's been in. It's too high risk, or the animal's destroyed. Those are the three items. So the RCMP today don't have those options because they have nobody who can make that apprehension. Through an assent vote, the public within electoral areas A, B, and C recently deferred to the idea the regional district can now finalize the bylaw adoption. It's not finalized. We need that public assent vote. That's in place. We can finalize the bylaw, and then we can put in a budget to hire this individual, whoever it might be, and come with the RCMP. It doesn't have to be a smoking gun. It can be a day later, it can be a week later, whenever. But they have a complaint, they have a mechanism to take the dog away, and those three outcomes will be what we will see.
Yeah.
Today, they're only course of action, if they have a belligerent owner and an aggressive dog, would be to shoot the dog in the spot or turn around and walk away. You don't want your RCMP officers discharging a firearm in public. That is a whole other time. Oh, we are not ready with the bylaw because of the provincial law requiring this process. Bylaw has the ability to progress. I'll see in the draft agenda tomorrow. I expect I'll see this bylaw. Move to the next reading. Then the question is funding. There's no taxation this year for this because we have to tell the province what we're going to tax for by March 31st, which was months ago. I'm going to talk to my peers, the electoral area directors for B and C, if we would pool a smaller amount of funding, a few tens of thousands, to get a contract in place prior to next year's taxation. That's about the best we can do.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean
this
that
is
it should be
the first
responsible.
problem dog.
There's many. I've been asking, I've probably worked with 4 or 5 staff sergeants on this. I've been highly frustrated trying to get just this focused bylaw, dangerous and aggressive dogs. I've had draft bylaws put out that say responsible dog owners. You write down to what are you feeding your dog? Your neighbor could be upset. The dog's malnourished. Did the dog poop on my yard? Who's going to deal with that? Is the dog wandering around? Did the dog pee on my road? Literally. I've seen bylaws drafted which will not work in the rural areas, make no sense, we can't afford. We finally have the correct bylaw with public assent that we can now tax for and put this person in place.
How long is it gonna take to get that bylaw?
The bylaw can get in place and it may take 2 months, literally with readings, 5 readings, but the taxation won't appear until January 2027, unless I can get agreement from other directors to fund a service with a contribution. So that's since July 2nd, when we realized there was a tap in area B. And now I've seen this already. I saw this probably the day it happened. I got some pictures to get like this right away. There's some criticality, but the month or 2 months or 6 months may have less impact than the owners of these dogs recognizing what is coming.
Yeah.
Because either they will change the habits of their dogs or they will potentially lose that animal.
Yeah.
And that is what's coming. And that has to be what's coming because all we've had is this big revolving door of dog bites, complaints, and then the RCMP saying, well, you know, it's not something we can deal with expeditiously. You know, I know the woman whose son was bit very well. Jimmy's daughter, her and her husband, the Colemans run the Jimmy's pub in the hotel there and stuff. I know the family, I've known for many years. And I do want to talk to her directly and find out exactly what the RCMP said, because it's quite critical that we speak accurately about these things. Otherwise, people throw their hands up and you get these crazy things. Oh, this is that and that's that. And it's not necessarily true.
I know what they said to me 3 years ago.
I know what they say to me all the time. We can't manpower to come up and deal with it.
So Brandon Bilgia, staff sergeant, recognizes that. We're petitioning the Solicitor General now to address the staffing levels of the Crescent Detachment. Mike Moore, with the Crescent, the town manager, is spearheading it. We've taken this run several times over the years. If again, you people want to make your public voice heard a little more, maybe directly to the staff sergeant, do that. That's fine. You understand they have a problem and they need to speak more directly now with division headquarters and solve that problem.
My other concern is it seems that more and more, and I think it was Charlene who was complaining to summers ago about being bullied in the campground on the beach, and more bikers going there.
Well,
Something.
and that's
Yeah,
I
Pretty
think it's within our purview here.
yeah.
What we've done in the past is we've invited the staff sergeant to come to a meeting here.
Yeah.
and last time we didn't get the staff sergeant, we had a corporal. But
So-
again, it would be a good
Yeah,
idea.
so maybe we'll do that. We'll invite them up.
Okay.
Yeah, I know people have a chance to ask questions and express concerns. So, yeah, so, who would I contact there?
Brandon Bulusia. That's
So maybe we should
Bulusia.
make sure we got some work.
You know what's easiest is if I, cause I'll, what if I just search him? Buluziak is Bulziuk, but, another dog bite on Watts Road, okay. What if I just pick one of the dog bites that comes up and I egg the staff sergeant and I will just, I will write Brandon and copy you and just say, I've deleted this particular incident. This is new emerging stuff. And that you want to him about coming up.
Yeah, I'll just
I'll
we'll ask them to come out and
Okay.
let people ask some questions. Okay. All right, oh, thanks, Gary.
Well, this is.
So we have no correspondence. And Gary's back.
Those were the two topics. And I'll talk about the post office squeeze and where this dog bylaw is. It is not quite in place intended yet.
And unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to thank Craig here. I guess he went to his other meeting.
Yeah, he said it.
Great, he was here.
Yeah, send him a note. And we don't have public. Our next meeting is.
No, you have observer, I think.
Oh, we.
At least once unmuted, I think.
Is it still zero?
Yeah, the vendor is still out there. So observe, this is a chance if you have a question or follow-up on anything that you would like to put forward, you're welcome to do so.
Quiet observer.
No, all right, so
They're not talking.
our next meeting
Sorry,
is
Gerald.
August 6th.
Did Sharman's email quandary get addressed?
Well, Evan has
Evan's
the
okay.
emails. He should be.
Could I just, because it came to me while I was thinking, which is, I know.
And you haven't had,
Could we somehow ensure that all correspondence goes to all the commissioners? I feel that it's burdensome for you to be the conduit, and sometimes stuff doesn't get out in a timely fashion. And if we just got everything, if I don't want to read it, I'll just delete it. So then I'm sure that I'm in the loop, and I'm not at the meeting and looking like, well,
Yeah,
is that, Evan, is that something that we can make happen somehow?
like, I only got the agenda today.
Yeah, so me too.
Yeah, so it's that the problem is not with this meeting, it's just that we got it today.
Yeah, but I mean, apparently there's a quarterly budget thing that comes out from the regional district. And if Gary is gonna forward some information about the post office or the dog thing or whatever, if it came to all the commissioners, then we're just sure that everybody's in the loop and informed.
It's 5:15.
And maybe I'm only speaking for myself because I'd be the guy that does know.
Yeah, it's just a matter of sending it out to the Google group.
I think it's just a group thing, and hopefully else isn't gonna beat me up outside and say, oh, I get too much email now. Because if you don't, you're not interested, whatever, I mean, you just delete it. Right?
Yeah, and we make that much difference, there is some quarterly financial things.
Yeah.
But aside from that, probably get most.
I'd just like to make sure that everybody gets everything.
and it bring me it up because I missed the last meeting because I didn't get the minutes or any notices of any kind, so. Thought it was next week, and then the next week came and nobody had the meeting last week.
Do that whole meeting.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just try to make sure that's right.
Even if I get double emails, it will give me. But be happy.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure. He hasn't been on the Google or anything. It's didn't notice it anymore. All right, next meeting is August 4th. And
Yep.
I move.
You're
Thank you,
folks. And I won't bring up the bill on them. I'm working.
You should have mentioned that. We could create something more to think about.
That's right. Right.
Probably thought he had a good handle.
See?
Thanks, Evan.
Thank you, Evan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
Yeah, Carol, something
Sorry,
came up
I
that I didn't know whether
Then
to
it's-
put in the meeting or not.